How one clue revealed a crime bigger than anyone imagined. Before we dive into this story, you already know the deal. If you think secrets stay buried forever, hit that subscribe button. Because after this episode, you'll see how fast one overlooked clue can unravel an entire world of lies. Now, let's get into it. The night the case began, rain hammered the city like it was trying to wash something off its streets. Patrol officers were already on edge. A storm this heavy always meant trouble. Power outages, accidents, people making desperate choices. But nothing about this call felt routine. Dispatch reported an abandoned SUV found on a service road near the outskirts of Brookwood County. The engine was still warm. The driver's door wide open. No sign of anyone around. Detective Elena Ward arrived first, stepping into the beam of her flashlight as she examined the scene. The SUV belonged to Daniel Riker, a well-known financial consultant with no criminal history. His wallet was still in the car. His phone, too. In the cup holder, a half-finished coffee was still steaming, meaning he had been there minutes, maybe seconds, before someone called it in. But what bothered Elena most wasn't what she saw. It was what she didn't. No footprints. No tire marks. No struggle. It was like the man simply stepped out of his car and vanished into the storm. The deeper they looked, the stranger it became. Riker wasn't the type to ditch his vehicle in the middle of nowhere. His clients described him as predictable, organized, almost obsessively careful. So why would he leave everything behind? As dawn approached, officers widened the search. They found nothing. No witness. No cameras. No body. Just a car and a mystery growing colder by the minute. By the end of the day, Elena and her partner, Detective Marcus Hale, returned to the tow yard where the SUV was being held. They needed a second look. They needed something. And that's when Elena noticed it. Something small, almost insignificant, lodged between the driver's seat and the console. A folded piece of paper, creased from pressure. She pulled it out, expecting a receipt or maybe a business note. Instead, she found a single line of text. Check the numbers. They lied to you. There was no signature. No date. Just a sentence written in neat, deliberate handwriting. A warning, or a confession. Marcus frowned. Numbers. What numbers? Elena didn't answer. She was staring at the back of the note. Because there, pressed faintly into the paper as if written with the same pen but never meant to be seen, was an impression of a different message. She angled it under the light, slowly tracing the letters with her thumb. The indentations formed a name they both recognized. Someone from their department. Someone who should never be connected to this case. Her stomach tightened. If this was real, they were standing at the edge of something far bigger than a missing man. Elena, Marcus whispered, reading her expression. What is it? She swallowed hard. If this clue is right, then Daniel Riker wasn't running. He was meeting someone. Marcus scanned the yard, suddenly tense. Who? Elena unfolded the note again, voice low. Someone inside the investigation. She barely finished the sentence when a tow yard worker called out to them, waving urgently from the back of the lot. Detectives! You need to see this. They hurried over. The worker pointed at the SUV's undercarriage, at something metallic taped behind the rear bumper. And when Marcus reached down and pulled it free, the detectives froze. It wasn't a weapon. It wasn't a tracker. It was a flash drive, wrapped in plastic and labeled with today's date. Elena's breath caught. Because Daniel Riker wasn't just missing. He was leaving evidence behind. And this drive, this tiny, forgotten clue, was about to expose a crime no one saw coming. Play it, Marcus said. But when they finally opened the files, what they found made the ground shift beneath their feet. Something that shouldn't have existed. Something connected to powerful people. Something they were never supposed to see. The flash drive loaded slowly, as if even the computer hesitated to reveal what was inside. Elena and Marcus stood shoulder to shoulder in a cramped evidence room, the cold hum of the fluorescent lights echoing around them. When the files finally opened, they expected data, maybe spreadsheets or documents tied to Daniel Riker's consulting work. They expected numbers. What they didn't expect were surveillance videos. Dozens of them. Each file was labeled only by date. The most recent was from 2 nights before Daniel went missing. Elena clicked it. The screen flickered, and a grainy alleyway appeared, somewhere downtown, near the warehouse district. A man stepped into the frame. It was Daniel. He looked tense, constantly checking over his shoulder. A second figure approached him, blurred and covered by a hood. Daniel handed the person a small folder. The hooded figure glanced at it, then nodded. Marcus leaned forward. "Pause it." Elena froze the frame right before the hooded figure turned away. A sliver of their face caught the light. It wasn't clear enough to identify, but it wasn't a stranger. "That's someone who knew him," Marcus murmured. "Someone he trusted." They watched more videos, secret meetings, late-night handoffs, quick exchanges that all hinted at something bigger. But one folder on the drive didn't contain video. It contained spreadsheets. Layers and layers of financial data. Transactions routed through shell companies, offshore accounts, and consulting fees that made no sense. The deeper they looked, the more disturbing it became. These weren't Daniel's records. They belonged to a network, an organized ring laundering millions through corporate fronts. And the final spreadsheet, marked with a red tag, listed names. Marcus's eyes widened. "Elena, half these people work in government. And the other half run the companies they oversee," she whispered. They weren't looking at a single crime. They were staring at a system built to hide corruption. Deep, polished, engineered. Daniel had stumbled into something dangerous. Something that had already swallowed him. Before they could process the scale of it, the door to the evidence room creaked open. Sergeant Avery stepped inside. He nodded politely, but something in his eyes made Elena's instincts spike. "I heard you two were working late," he said casually. "Need a hand?" Elena subtly clicked the monitor off. "Just going over the Riker case." Avery scanned the room, lingering a second too long on the flash drive. "That's so. Anything useful?" Marcus stepped forward. "Nothing yet. Dead end, honestly." Avery smiled, a thin, unreadable smile, and stepped back. "Well, keep me updated." When the door shut, Marcus exhaled. "He knows." Elena didn't answer. Her pulse hammered. She reopened the folder with the spreadsheet of names. Her eyes moved down the list, and then her breath hitched. There it was. Near the bottom. Avery, Thomas, Brookwood County Police. Marcus swore under his breath. He's in it. He's one of them. Elena nodded slowly. Daniel wasn't meeting criminals. He was meeting insiders trying to expose them. Before they could decide what to do next, a loud thud echoed from the hallway, footsteps rushing, voices raised. Someone was coming back. Elena yanked the flash drive from the computer and shoved it into her pocket. Marcus whispered urgently, "We need to leave. Now." But when they cracked open the door, the hallway was dark. Silent. And at the end of it, a figure stood waiting, half hidden in shadow. Watching them. The same height. The same build. Sergeant Avery. His voice carried softly down the hall. "Detectives, we have a problem." Avery's voice echoed down the hallway, steady and unsettling. Elena felt the flash drive like a burning weight in her pocket. Marcus shifted beside her, ready for anything, but the corridor between them and the exit felt impossibly long. Avery took a slow step forward. "You two have seen something you shouldn't have," he said calmly. "And I need that drive." Elena kept her voice steady. "We don't have anything, Sergeant." Avery smirked. "Don't lie to me, Ward. Daniel tried the same thing. Look where that got him." The air tightened. It was the first confirmation they'd heard that Daniel's disappearance wasn't random. He'd been silenced. Elena and Marcus backed up the hallway toward the stairwell, their footsteps echoing. Avery didn't chase, but his voice followed them. "You can walk away from this," he called out. "Turn over the evidence, and forget what you found. It's better for you both." Marcus whispered, his stalling. "Someone else is coming." Elena nodded. "We need to get out, now." They turned and sprinted down the stairwell, the old metal railing rattling beneath their hands. They could hear the station coming alive above them, doors opening, radios crackling, footsteps spreading. The corruption wasn't small. Avery wasn't alone. And now the entire department might be searching for them. They burst out into the back parking lot, rain beginning to fall again in sharp, cold bursts. Marcus pointed to an unmarked sedan. "Take it. We need to get this drive somewhere safe." Elena started the car as Marcus scanned the mirrors. "We're not just running from cops," he muttered. "We're running from an entire operation." It was true. The spreadsheets weren't just numbers. They mapped out years of hidden transactions, connections, and quiet agreements. This wasn't a side scheme. It was a fully formed network embedded deep in the county's leadership. As they sped out onto the main road, Elena dialed the one person she trusted outside the department, FBI agent Priya Lawson, someone she'd worked with on a task force years earlier. When Priya answered, Elena didn't waste time. "Priya, it's Ward. I have a flash drive with evidence of a corruption ring involving county officials and law enforcement. We need a safe meeting point." Priya didn't hesitate. "Get to the federal field office. Don't go to any state or local agencies. And Elena, be careful. If what you're saying is true, someone is already trying to stop you." As they sped toward the city, Marcus kept glancing at the rearview mirror. "We're being followed." A pair of headlights had been trailing them since they left the station, unblinking, unwavering. Elena's grip tightened on the steering wheel. "Then we make this quick." They pulled into the underground parking of the federal building. Agents were already waiting. Elena handed Priya the flash drive, her voice tight. "This has everything: names, transactions, meetings." Riker was trying to expose them before he disappeared. Priya nodded and signaled the techs to secure the evidence. "We'll take it from here. You two stay inside until we've contained the situation." Hours passed. Agents moved with urgency, making calls, reviewing files, initiating warrants. The network Avery belonged to was larger than anyone realized. And the flash drive Daniel left behind was enough to bring it all down. By evening, Priya returned. "We've made multiple arrests. Avery is in custody. The operation is collapsing." Elena absorbed the words, a mixture of relief and sadness settling in. "And Daniel?" Priya paused. "We found where they had been monitoring him. But he's still missing. We're widening the search." Marcus sighed quietly. He risked everything to expose them. "He did," Priya said. "And because of him and you too, this county just got a lot safer." Elena looked out the window at the city lights flickering through the rain. The truth had come out. The network was falling. But the cost lingered. As they prepared to leave the building, Priya stopped them. "One more thing. We processed the remaining files on the drive. Daniel left a message for whoever found it." She handed Elena a printed transcript. The first line made her heart stop. "If you're reading this, it means I didn't make it, but the truth did." Elena folded the message carefully. Even in the shadows, Daniel had ensured the truth reached the light. As they stepped into the night, Marcus shook his head. "This case is going to haunt this place for years." Elena's voice was quiet but steady. "Good. Some truths should." And as the rain fell softly around them, one thing was clear. This wasn't the end of corruption in Brookwood County. But it was the beginning of something better. If you thought this case was intense, you're not ready for what's coming next. Subscribe so you don't miss it.